I think the most neurodivergent thing I've done, I've lost my engagement ring. Does that count? I was late to give birth to my own child. It's pretty bad. I'm Tash.
I'm Latia.
And we are the owners of Bleeding Hearts Tattoo. We wanted you to step in and maybe feel like you're in your auntie's house.
The vibe in the shop is just really nice and friendly.
These guys are my safe space, they are my best friends.
We wanted everybody to feel comfortable, so regardless of your age, your gender, your diagnoses.
We have things like fidget toys and disposable earplugs, so if they have like noise or sensory issues.
I definitely think that there is a link between being neurodiverse and getting tattoos.
It's a way for neurodivergent people to express themselves.
We met on Tinder. Since we started talking, something in me just knew that this was the person that I was going to be with.
I was at the kind of point where I was really fed up with dating, and Tash was talking, I was talking to her, but I probably wasn't giving her the time of day that I should have. And she kind of like strong-armed me into a date, and I'm glad that you did. Me and Tash kind of went off and on about wanting kids and not wanting kids, and then because Tash has PCOS, that's right, isn't it, PCOS?
Yeah, I was told
I was getting mixed up
children.
between PCOS and the police thing.
PCSO.
So, and she came downstairs, big look on her face, and she told me she was pregnant, and I was like, that's crazy. And it was at that point we'd started to learn about our neurodivergence then, so it was a bit like, shit, you know, what do we do?
At the time, we were working in Derby, and we both live in Nottingham, so trying to make sure that we were home in time to see to his needs was getting quite challenging. And then when we were looking to move back to Nottingham for work, we couldn't really find a space where it just felt like home. And luckily we were in a position to open up our own studio, so we just threw our all into it, didn't we?
That, and we wanted to find somewhere where we could have all three of us together, because me, Tash and Teddy are like joined at the hip.
A lot of people say it all the time, no matter what business it is, whether it's like a tattoo shop or an office job. Oh, we're a family. And it's like, oh, yeah, you're not though, are you? But we actually are. Like, these guys are my safe space, they are my best friends.
Show my client.
I'm so proud to be part of a place that creates so much positivity. It's just so welcoming for everybody.
We wanted it to almost feel like you're stepping into someone's living room, so we didn't want it to feel like you're walking into either a dark and scary or a very clinical tattoo studio.
How you doing? Good, thank you. Excited about today.
And everything that we did in the studio is with accessibility and neurodivergence in mind.
So if there's anything that you need me to be aware of with your Tourette's, just let me know.
As soon as I knew that we were opening a shop, I made a Pinterest board of how I wanted it to be decorated. And I knew from the get-go I wanted it to be pink and green with like oranges, and so I made this whole Pinterest board, and Matt, bless him, did all the work, and I basically just directed.
I had some aesthetic input. The plants and the disco balls were my idea. Tash doesn't like my weapon wall, but
You got to have something.
got to have something.
We wanted each station to kind of represent each individual person. So, you know, you see a little bit of everybody's personalities. So, for example, Robin's is all very pink. One of them is like American traditional. Teddy's is dinosaurs.
Paul never really put much effort into hers, which I feel speaks for Paul as a person.
Oh, sorry. What did I say? Biggest misconception about tattoos: that only thieves and thugs and ruffians have them, because they don't anymore. Tattoos are for everybody. Especially within this studio, I think a lot of us have had similar but not similar experiences in the way that we might feel like we don't necessarily fit in, or, you know, we've tried to be a part of a group that's not quite worked for us. But coming together, we seem to sort of fit really well.
He's filming you, filming me. Right, are we ready?
Yes. Conception.
Why did my legs go up?
Matt and I always joke that we take on waifs and strays. So pretty much everybody here has at some point been in a fairly toxic shop environment. Hollie was in a bit of an unfortunate situation and messaged us as soon as we opened and joined. And then we took on Robin, because Robin's studio was unfortunately closing.
The vibe in the shop is just really nice and friendly. It's like my second home. I've not even been here very long, but it feels like I've worked here forever. It's really important to have a studio that's a safe space because you're working so closely with people in vulnerable positions, like with less clothes on, for example, and touching people's bodies. Just because it goes onto this kind of section of the upper arm, a lot of people feel comfortable telling us more personal things than they would probably someone at a shopkeeper.
If we get someone who wants to come to us and they have an illness or something that we are aware of, we'll do our best to research it as well. So like Tash has a client that's come to her who has lupus.
I said to her, if you get a doctor's note, a signed doctor's note that says that you're well enough to get tattooed, I'm happy to do it. And we did a little one to start off with, just to see how she'd heal with her condition. And she healed perfectly, and she's been back to me 2 or 3 times now. And after we did the tattoo, her mum actually messaged the shop. It's making me feel emotional.
Oh, it was a nice message, yeah.
And she was so appreciative of the fact that we'd done that for her, because she'd been refused from so many other places. And I just think it's so beautiful that we can offer that to people and we give them those opportunities.
I have a client with Tourette's. She's a lovely, lovely girl, but sometimes she can struggle with the feeling of being tattooed. So we sort of worked together and spoke quite a bit about what might help her. We tried a few different things, so taking regular breaks. She would also let me know if she felt quite a big physical tic coming on, and we'd just have a minute.
I've got a young client who's deaf and he brings his mum with him. He can lip read, so I just make sure that I'm talking directly at him and slowly and clearly so he can understand what I'm saying. So it's just making sure people are as comfortable as they can be and that they don't feel strange for telling us their needs, you know, because generally speaking, people with neurodivergences and the like are made to feel a little bit outcasty, whereas here we want them to feel like they're home.
I love it. Best tattoo I've got.
I definitely think that there is a link between being neurodiverse and getting tattoos.
I think it's a way for neurodivergent people to express themselves, but in a non-verbal way, so it sort of gives them that security of, you know, I'm showing the world who I am. In
terms of neurodivergence, we have things like earplugs for sensory needs and fidget toys and blankets and things like that to help keep people feeling comfortable.
If people tell us that they need the volume on the music lower, they need a privacy screen, they need more breaks, they need a day, or they want to book in on a day when it's a little bit quieter, we can make all those accommodations for people.
It's just adding in those little things that make people's lives a bit easier, where I think a lot of other studios don't necessarily think about that.
If you don't find that, you can always come and say hi, because we'll look after you and we'll love you and we'll accept you, no matter what.
Whenever I talk about it, it always makes them come out more.